Isn't this great? Okay, boom.
Right there.
Yeah, I think one of those upside down should do the trick. I think that's all we need. Don't need much. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Let's see what the mode. Let's see what the mode is here. Highlight added. Let's see. Okay. Epic. Okay, we'll close this. Look at that audio. Okay. Perfect. We've got some. Putting this phone on airplane mode.
Are we going to take off?
We are about to, actually. We are truly about to take off. Okay. So we're just gonna. Oh wow. That's funny. You can see. Look at that. You can see what. We can see that we're both. Ooh. We can see that we're both in the shot.
Oh my God.
So I wonder if I'll go like this to. Okay, let's do a quick audio test. Okay, audio test 1 2 3 1 2 3.
1 2 3 1 2 3.
Okay, let's just see what that's like. Pause. Oops. Just want to make sure that. Okay, audio test 1 2 3 1 2 3.
1 2 3 1 2 3.
Okay, perfect. And I'm gonna keep it closer to you most of the time because you're the one that's gonna be talking most of the time. Let's see if we can't put this on a little, like a little, like this or something. Yeah, like that. That way I can pick my drink up. You know what? So a little, not this. Too heavy, actually. What? That might do us some. Oh, let's see. Did that just go off? No, it's still recording. Okay. Okay, let's make sure you're fully in there, brother. Look at that. Okay, I think we're ready for liftoff.
Okay.
Okay. Get this out of the way, don't need that. Okay. Yeah, let's just dive right into it.
Pardon?
We're just gonna dive right into it.
Okay.
We're gonna go on a journey.
Okay. Whatever you ask me, I'll answer.
Beautiful, beautiful timing. Haven't done the podcast in a while. Alan Flowers is here. I just got some new gear. I'm testing a new setup. Unfortunately, I'm trying to test some new microphones that didn't arrive yet, but we got the GoPro. Testing a new setup. Haven't done this for about a year. We were just riffing. I was walking out with this new stuff because I shipped it to my folks' place. It's gonna get robbed at mine. I'm walking out, and Alan's here, and we just start riffing a little bit. I say I'm going back home to Venice, and then boom, he just starts spitting. So, Alan, talk to me. Talk to me about Venice. That's what we were talking about. You moved there in 1970?
No, I moved there. I bought a flower shop there in the early 70s, and I just loved Venice Beach. It was crazy. I loved all the people that ran around. I was on the Venice Board of Directors. I worked helping the homeless people. I did a lot of work helping children stay in school. I worked as hard as I could to do what I could for Venice Beach and all of its people, to keep the businesses going, to keep the people busy, and to help the children and the homeless. I did everything I could to help people, and I loved it. I loved giving the energy, and I loved the energy I got back, and I loved what it did for my business. I ran a flower shop there on the corner of Venice and Lincoln.
Was it Lincoln and Rose, was it?
Lincoln and...
or was it, earlier you said Lincoln and Rose?
Lincoln and Rose, yes.
It was Lincoln and Rose?
Yes, Lincoln and Rose.
So there's a Whole Foods there now?
Yes, there is. Whole Foods was across the street from me.
Got it, so you were on the other side of Lincoln.
I was on the other side. It was part of an old theater building that had been turned into a flower shop. and I loved it. I actually could live in it. I lived in the back of it, and it was like where the old film equipment was, and it was like a loft area, so I could live there comfortably and run the flower shop in the front, and it was kind of nice. And I drove an old 1948 Chevrolet. So,
You're driving a 48 Chevrolet in 1970 something.
Yes. It was wonderful. And every Sunday, the shop would be closed, and I was free. So I'd make a little bottle of martinis, go to Venice Beach, and lay out in the sand, and enjoy and get a good tan. And then come back Monday morning, and I'd work. From 2 o'clock in the morning, I would run downtown, I would buy flowers, I would run back, I would work until like 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and during the day, I would work with people, I would meet people, I would have a ball. It was a good business.
And you were talking about some of the people that you ran into running your business.
I was very lucky because I was very popular in the movie industry, and some of the people that I met, I got to work with some very famous people in the movie industry, and I don't like to throw names, but Elizabeth Taylor was one of them, Cary Grant, Betty White, Betty Lee. I had a very good time with some very famous people, but I never treated them like stars. They were just people that I met, and I worked with them as they were normal people, and I got respect for them because I didn't overact or overdo my relationships with them. It was very nice. I had a very good time.
And how is it that flowers were the thing that got you access to? What did these famous people need flowers for? For their homes?
Oh, they're for their homes, for weddings, for friends. There were so many different aspects of the industry that I loved. I was very lucky. You did flowers for births, you did flowers for birthdays, graduations, weddings, and you turned around and you did flowers for the death. It was a full scope of everything that in life that you had to do, and you had to do it in a way that was both charming and beautiful. So I lucked out. I was so involved in it that I even got my degree. It was Allen David Flowers, AIFD, American Institute of Floral Design. So I was fairly well educated, and I loved what I did. I was very lucky. I was a very happy man.
Damn.
So I did it for 45 years.
So you started in what year exactly? 1970 what?
I was in Venice from 1970 on to about 1985. I've been all over Los Angeles for many years. I've lucked out. I've worked in Beverly Hills. I've worked in Hollywood. I've had a good experience.
And all doing flowers?
All doing flowers. I've loved it.
How'd you get your start in flowers?
My last name is Flowers. It's been my ample of life ever since I was born.
Do you know a guy named Jimmy Flowers in San Francisco?
The name is familiar.
I actually had him on the podcast. He goes by Jimmy Flowers. I don't think that's his real name like you, but he would plant flower beds in San Francisco and do things to help the homeless and things like that. So I was just curious because this is the second flower I've had on the podcast. So yeah, he actually reminds me of you a little bit for sure. You guys have a similar vibe.
People that do flowers are we're into helping other people.
Right.
It's not about us. You know, I'm very lucky. I've had a good life, and my whole idea, even though I'm 73 years old, I still want to help people. Yeah. I work my butt off to get other people in the right direction. I spent 2 months in a coma, and I thought I was going to be at the end of my life.
Right.
And I was told, no, go back. You're not done. There are things that you are supposed to do. And I thought about it. If I'm being sent back and not going to die, my deal is to tell people to do the right things with their life. I am to help people go the right way in life. So I continue to do that. I continue to try and help people to move in the right direction. There have been homeless people that I have tried to help. There are children that I try and teach to do the right thing the right way. And it's a lot of work. It's hard.
Right.
There are times that I just sit down and I cry. And they're not tears there's just tears that I want to do more. But it's hard at my age. It's a little harder to do because getting people to understand that there's a right way and a wrong way in this world, it's a lot of work. But I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to keep trying to get people to go in the right direction. And whatever I have to do, I will do because I'm not done yet. And when I'm done, or when my time is up, the man will let me know.
And how did you know? Because I think a lot of people struggle with this. I know I do. How did you know that flowers were your thing when you started that business and you went whole hog into it? How did you know that you didn't want to do something else?
I did do something else when I was younger, in my teens and 20s in Chicago. I sold clothing.
Okay.
And I sold top-end clothing. I was at the height of the clothing industry in Old Town Chicago back in the 60s. I sold clothing to like the Righteous Brothers and some of the movie industry or the music people back in that era. I had a good time. But when that started to fall apart, the man I was with, we grabbed everything we could and we ran off to Australia for a couple of years. We had a good time. And I lived in Australia for 2 years. And I was lucky. I spent 2 years in Australia. I then spent 2 months on the Great Barrier Reef diving and looking around and seeing the beauty of nature. Unfortunately, it no longer looks the same way.
Right.
And that's because of pollution, and man is not paying attention to what's going on. This planet is a living thing, and people are not paying attention to it.
And so you were in Australia in the late 60s, was that then?
Yes, the late 60s.
The late 60s, and you went there with your partner. And so what was the impetus? I know things were falling apart in Chicago, but you just wanted to go to a new place to experience something new. And
we looked around the world whether we wanted to go to Africa or to Europe and things like that, but nothing looked as good as Australia. It looked new and inviting, and when we got there, they were building their opera house. There were no major highways. It was a road trip from Sydney to Brisbane and then 120 miles to Gympie, Australia, which is a little tiny town that we dropped. We went into the bank and handed them two $500,000 checks, and they just looked at us and thought we were nuts. How can you do that? I said, they'll open the account. They'll clear. And they did.
So you guys did you sell what you had in Chicago?
We sold everything. We gave away. We sold everything we had and left the country.
And you had then two $500,000 checks. That's a lot of money. You had a lot of money saved up.
Yeah. We made a lot of money selling clothes. We saved some of it. When we sold the business and walked away, we walked away.
And when you say you're selling clothes, were you just working the floor, or did you run the business that was selling the clothes?
We owned and ran the business.
Got it. Did you guys meet doing that, or did you meet and then start it?
We met, and he got me into the business. He dressed me well. I had like 35 pair of shoes. I had enough clothes. I was on TV. I did one of the late shows. I had
one of the late shows?
Yeah. I did.
You supplied clothes?
Yeah.
Got it.
I was on TV.
And talking about your business?
Yes.
What late show?
I don't even remember.
I love that. It was a Chicago-based something?
Chicago-based. We were key members of the Millionaires Club in Chicago.
What's that?
It was a private club where you had to be a millionaire to go in. And we were invited in. So we went. And we went to a Halloween party there. And he was dressed as Pancho Rivera in the actual clothes that he got from the Hollywood or the Royal London Wax Museum that was next to our business. And I was in a gown that was from there where the woman was shot, and I had like 5 wigs on and no mustache, and I was so well done that no one knew I was a man. And when they all got up to, all the men had to go on stage for the event, I sat in my chair and waited till all the men got up on stage, and then I finally said I had to get up and go up there with the rest of the men, and everyone was screaming because they thought, this can't be real. And I got away with it.
Wow. And were you out of the closet at this point?
Oh, I've been gay ever since I was born. I've always known it.
Yeah.
I went to school with it. I had a lot of trouble in grammar school. And in high school, all the guys knew I was gay, and I never got beat up because I was honest about it and respected for it. So
Really?
there was no.
Where did you
and
go to-
I went to an all-male high school.
In
My
Chicago?
graduating class was 1,200 strong.
1,200 dudes.
1,200 dudes, and they were all my buddies. Everybody knew I was gay, and I
This
never
was
got
Chicago?
beat up. In Chicago.
And this must have been in what, the early 50s or something? What?
late 50s.
Late 50s.
Albert G. Lane Technical High School.
You were openly gay in
Openly
the
gay.
Midwest in Chicago,
Yes.
and you didn't get any grief.
Oh no, none. The boys had to take buses and to get to and from school. I had boyfriends picking me up in their brand new cars,
Were they were older?
and they were older. And the guys look at me and said, "How can you get away with that?" And I said, "Oh, you play your cards right, you get what you want."
Cobra. How did you meet these guys? These older men?
I used to go to bars and play pool when I was 16, and no one questioned my age, and I played my cards right, and I got away with it.
Were these gay bars?
Gay bars.
How was the gay bar scene in Chicago at this time? Was it pretty underground, or?
No, it was a diversity in Ashland area. It was pretty open. I don't understand it. Everyone talks about being gay and it was underground,
Right.
and I lived an open gay life, and I've never been underground.
Right.
And I hear about everything that went on in New York and places like that, and I've never bantered myself that way. I've always been out, open, and kind of just, if you're not aware of me, then you're blind.
Right.
So I've been.
Well, I didn't know you were gay till you just told me a second ago. We haven't talked that many times,
I
but
know. I don't mean to be rude, but the first time I saw you, I looked you up and down and thought, oh, that's a nice looking man. Hot object.
did you think I was gay?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't think you were gay. I thought, oh, yeah.
I appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
Out of respect, I don't look around anymore. I appreciate
You're allowed,
the looks,
you're allowed
but-
to appreciate without that. You don't have. You can keep your respect and still appreciate. That just really surprised me. I don't want to harp on this and make you into a victim, because I know you're not. But it's just like you even hear, even in the last 20 years, which is in the 50s, we're talking the 2000s. Like, it seems like a lot of people, even the last 20 years, have had trouble coming out, being gay, and it's been. I think only now it feels like that it's really, within the last several years, maybe last 5 years, I don't know, but it really feels like it's pretty much totally kosher. Certainly some areas it's not going to be totally kosher.
Well, now
but-
you see it on TV. There's
Yeah.
movie stars and TV people that are openly gay. It's now part of life in the world that is acceptable.
Well, hold on. What about Australia? When you were there in the late 60s, you said? Yeah.
I went to
Australia's-
bars there.
I'm trying to get a sob story out of you, brother, and you're just like, no, there's no problem. Because Australia's they're pretty conservative.
They're
is my
very
understanding.
conservative.
Yeah.
But I met gay men there.
But you found your niche.
I found bars there. There was no problem.
That's incredible. Wow.
I'm one of those
What about-
very fortunate people that has walked around, I can say, with a skirt and never got a problem. I've never gotten beat up.
What about the other gay men that you hung out with? What about their experiences?
They got their asses kicked because they were in denial. They tried to hide the fact that they were gay. And my attitude has always been, if you hide what you are, you're going to get your ass kicked. If you're honest about who you are and don't play a game, and you're honest with the people you know, there's no problem.
Really? I get the sense that probably a lot of gay men would hear you say that and probably be pretty pissed off, right?
Yes, they're very pissed off.
Because I'm sure, I mean, even gay men that are totally open. What about of your gay friends that were open as long as you were, or maybe not as long as you knew since birth, but open, for in their early teens? Like, did they?
They got beat up.
Okay, so still people were getting. Got it. So it sounds like you also had a little bit of luck too, maybe.
During grammar school, I got bullied by some of my friends in grammar school because they knew I was different.
Right, but they didn't know you were gay necessarily. They just knew you were different.
They didn't know I was gay.
They didn't even know what that was, probably.
No.
What about your
they probably did, but they didn't want to. It wasn't part of their world.
Right.
Because we lived in a very Italian, Polish neighborhood where none of that stuff existed.
Right.
But I ran off to different neighborhoods and I knew what existed, and I didn't hide what was going on with myself.
What about your family?
My mom always knew that I was different.
Yeah.
My dad had one hard time with it.
Yeah.
He didn't. When I came out to them, verbally, my father had a very hard time. It took him years to warm up and accept who I was. And when he did, our bond as father and son became so strong and so full. It was, my dad and I had a really good relationship.
Wow. When you didn't reach that other side of the rainbow, no, that was just, it happened to be rainbow gay joke, didn't we? With the relationship where everything was good, what about the period where it wasn't? Were you worried that it wasn't gonna be good?
Yeah, it was tough on both of us because we both wanted something. He expected a son,
right,
a man, and he wasn't getting what he wanted.
Right. Did you have any brothers?
I have a brother who's 3 years younger than me.
Is he gay?
Married with no, he's married with children.
Nice.
I have a sister who's 8 years younger than me, married with children, and she knows. We talk once or twice a week on the phone. Yeah. No problem. Yeah. And I have a younger brother who's 16 years younger than me that I helped raise. No problem with him. He knows.
Right.
My whole family knows.
Oh, epic.
I have relatives that know. No problem.
Yeah, no problem.
Most of my family, aunts and uncles, they're so distant that there's no problem.
Wow, that's incredible. Good for you.
I'm a pretty lucky guy.
Yeah,
I've lived with a big ring around my head.
Right.
Not in a good way, but it's become a halo because I've got good understanding from all of my family.
Oh damn, we got an airplane going over us, but that's a chopper actually.
Yep.
Let me ask you this. I'll get closer to the mic here because when you said you were in a Polish-Italian neighborhood, when you would go to other neighborhoods to explore, how old were you? How did you even go about doing that? Like, you must have been I wasn't even thinking about going to you said bars at 16, but what were you doing to explore?
There were certain beaches that you could go to were gay beaches in Chicago. In Chicago, on Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
You go there and hang out.
As a 10-year-old?
12-year-old.
12-year-old. So 12, and then were there other gay boys your age, or were they mostly older?
Mostly older.
Got it.
I always went through. I liked older men.
Right. Right.
Young boys did not interest me. They still don't. I like older men.
Right. Damn. Good for you to just go.
And I pulled around.
Right. Did your parents know at this age that you were?
I'm sure they knew, but it was not talked about.
Right.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a lot of balls, girl. Just going to I'm gonna go to the beach. And how did you even know though? Like, how did you even know about that beach?
You hear it.
You hear it. Okay. Yeah. That's incredible. Wow. Okay, epic. So, you were in Australia for a couple years. Were you doing flower stuff there?
No. We bought a farm. We were raising pigs. We had people living with us.
Did you have farming experience before that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
None.
Oh, none?
None. Never had 45 acres, had a pony. Fabulous. I called her Champagne because it was champagne colored.
Yeah.
And our house was up on 12-foot stilts because at night the grounds changed into bugs. huge animals that came out at night. So you don't go out at night.
No.
But I would ride my horse bareback.
Uh-huh.
She had a bit, and I would grab her, and she would love to tease me. She'd head right for the house, put her head down so she could go under the house, and she knew I was on her back, so I'd have to jump off.
No way.
There was a little river that ran right through the middle of our property, and it was a curve, and the curve was all stone, and it was about 12 foot deep, so it turned into a swimming pool for us.
Right.
And it was a river. And we built a cement disc with a hood on it, and we pumped water up from the river. It was and we reinforced our building with a bathroom, because when we moved there, it had an outhouse.
Right.
I'm not going to use an outhouse.
Of course not.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
I had to learn.
Yeah.
But we refurbished our house.
Is that house still there? You know?
I don't know.
So you were only there for 2 years. Well, not I say only, but 2 years to get a whole farm set up, all that. Why'd you decide to leave?
Marijuana plants grew. Back in the 60s, that was not allowed. And we got busted. And
When you say they grew, you mean you planted them?
we didn't think it would be a problem.
Right. They just happened to grow here.
We didn't realize that every weekend, 45 acres, we didn't know anyone was around, but on the mountain on the side of our hill, our farm, all the people in the town were up on the hill watching us, including legal people. And they're watching what we're doing because we're long-haired Americans with $1 million in the bank. Duh.
Right.
We were trouble. So when marijuana plants grew and they covered the one side of the building, they came down and said, "Oh, you're under arrest."
Right.
And they would give us a choice. Everything you own or 10 years hard labor. So take everything we own. And they gave me $2,000 in 2 months to get out of Australia. And don't come back. You're not allowed.
So your 500, each of your 500K gone.
Gone.
You're not bullshitting me right now.
No, I'm not. I am not allowed back in Australia. It's illegal for me to go.
To this day.
To this day.
Oh. So you would have stayed there. You were planning on staying there for a while then.
Yeah.
How was it losing that? Some people don't even make that much money in a lifetime. Like you lost that. And
Oh, wow.
Well, 500K at that time too. What am I thinking? That's like, I don't know. Where's that closer? I mean, that's close to. Got to be close to $1 million now.
Maybe more than $1 million.
Maybe more than $1 million. What was that? Just debilitating, losing that much money?
Oh, well, you come back, you make more.
Oh, I think that would break a lot of people.
Money cannot break you. And money is just paper. You get a job, you earn it, and you make more.
Right.
And that's how I looked at it. I'll get a job and I'll make more. I came back and I got a job as a florist, and the hell?
Did you stay with your partner and go to LA?
We split.
You split after Australia?
Yeah. He went one way and I went another. And fortunately, he got a lover right after that. They're still together, and him and I still speak to each other. We're still friends. 45 years later, we still talk. His name is Sandy, and I still respect him, and I still love him. He's still a good friend.
Oh,
I'm very lucky.
that's beautiful.
Yeah. He lives down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Wow. Okay, so you came to LA. Sandy went the other way. And did you have flower experience before going to LA?
No.
And then that's when you got certified. in
That's
LA.
when I got.
How'd you have the capital to open up a shop?
You work your butt off and you find a small shop that is useless and was broke. They didn't want it, so I took it over.
Was that the one on Lincoln and Rose?
And it was making probably $2,000 to $3,000 a month, so it barely could pay its rent.
Yeah.
And my energy and my attitude and my well-being
Yeah.
and the way I am
Right.
helped bring business in.
Right.
And the more business I brought in, the more I could do. And I built that business into $30,000 to $40,000 a month. I have a lot of energy. And getting involved in the business, and not only the industry, the Chamber of Commerce itself.
What do we got? Battery low, powering off, all good. We can keep going because we'll just have the first clip.
Okay.
We're good because we got audio. That's all we need for a podcast.
Okay.
You kept going. You built it up.
Just working with the industry and with the people in Venice Beach, I built that business into something that would work. And then when all of the grocery stores started opening their own flower shops and stuff like that, things started falling apart.
Right.
I walked away from it.
You just walked away. Did you sell the business, or did you just?
I just walked away. I'm done.
Wow. And what year was that?
Oh, that was 12 years ago. That's when I fell off. That's when I fell off the ladder and
that's
hit my head and kind of.
Or in a coma.
I was in
And
a
you
coma.
thought you were
for
going
2
to hell.
That's hell or heaven, one of the two. And the world started to fall apart around me, and I was like, okay, walk on, walk away.
12 years ago. Okay, so what is that? 20. That's like 2009 or something. Ooh, with the financial crisis right there, coming off the back of that too.
Yeah.
Holy schnitzel! So, did you retire after that?
I'm retired, yeah.
And that you didn't start another business after that.
No.
You retired after that, and wow. Wow, what were you saying about the Beatles earlier?
Oh, one of the places where when I first moved here, I had a lawyer friend who was a crazy man. He was gay, and he had a young man that he took care of that had a Triumph 8, one of those old, wonderful motors.
Yeah, I love it. A young man he took care of.
Yeah.
A baby.
With
Right.
a car, it was a Triumph,
Yeah.
and then he had 4 Corvettes, and he had a house that he took care of up on, what did I say the street was?
Yeah, I forget. It wasn't a U. It was a U-shaped house. I forgot the street.
A gray house.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the street. My mind's gone.
It'll come to you later, yeah.
We walked in, and it was a U-shaped house, and it was all glass. And I looked around the
There's
pool.
glass on the inside.
Glass on the inside.
Yeah.
And you could see all of Los Angeles and a pool in the center. And I'm looking around, and here's all this paperwork on a piano, and here and there. And it's all music written by the Beatles. Blue Jay Way. That's the street it was on.
That's what it was.
And I thought, what the hell is all this? How can you... This is where they wrote this is the house on Blue Jay Way. And it's where they wrote the album. And the other lawyer they had
right?
was the old man, the old lawyer. And that's part of one of those songs. And I thought, this is crazy. We stayed there for a week and thought, I swam in the pool and I thought, oh my God, I slept in the same bed. I wonder who slept here. Wonder which one it was. And I thought, oh well.
And you saw the music on the piano.
Yeah.
And how'd you meet him, the lawyer?
The lawyer, one of the people that he took care of was one of the young men that we knew, and David.
Right.
When we went up there, we met him, and David was one of his other friends. We won't go there.
Right.
And that's how I met him.
Right.
I ran around with David was somebody I met in Chicago that ran around with my lover. And it's a whole mixed story.
It's a small community. The
Yes,
gay
it
community is small. One of my girlfriend's really good friends. He kind of just knows like in every city. He just has people that he knows.
Yeah.
And he's on Instagram and he meets people a lot that way. But he's just like constantly talking about how small of a community it is.
when you go into a city and you go into a bar, you'll look around and go, "Hi, how are you?" And they go, "I haven't seen you in years." And it's like, "Oh my God, you're still alive."
Holy shit.
The AIDS epidemic,
I was just going to ask.
when that hit, that destroyed. We were part of the beginning of the AIDS epidemic. Sandy, who was one of my lovers,
Yeah.
my last lover,
Yeah.
was a Unitarian minister, was part of the group that helped put AIDS Project Los Angeles together. And he was the minister there. The amount of people that we buried, and it's a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
There was a time, there was a kid whose parents said, "You're a faggot.
Yeah.
We don't believe in you. We don't care what you are.
Right.
Go live whatever life you want to.
Right.
You're not our son anymore.
Right.
Go die however you want to. We don't care."
Right.
When he died, Sandy and I were the only two people that were around. Sandy did the funeral arrangements for him. I did the flowers. We buried that kid. God bless him.
Right.
He's in a good place. But we were the only two people that took care of him.
Yeah.
And that happened too many times to too many people. The AIDS epidemic in the beginning was a manslaughter of humanity.
Yeah.
And it's still going on today. And it's not in the gay community anymore.
Right.
It's with a lot of women who they don't take care of themselves.
Right.
And they pass it on, and they pass it on, and they pass it on.
I'm going to keep this mic close to you just so we can hear you better.
And it's spreading. It's a disease that keeps going.
It's still spreading a lot?
Yes.
Like but not to the extent that it was.
Not in the gay community. Now it's in the prostitute community,
Right.
and it's spreading to straight men that way.
Right. Were you afraid to have sex during that time, during the AIDS epidemic?
I stopped having sex.
During that time?
I had one lover that I had sex with. We both had AIDS, so we had together. Since Sandy has died, I have not had sex. I have not had sex since 1995, and
Right.
I will not have sex again with anyone else because I will not take the chance of giving someone else this disease.
Right. I didn't know you had AIDS.
Yeah, I was diagnosed with it in 1981.
Wow. So is that what this is that related to the kidney stuff that's going on with you? That's completely separate.
It's completely separate.
Wow.
And I've never been. I am with a hospital unit, Kaiser Permanente,
Yeah.
that has kept me healthy and alive, and I've never been sick with AIDS. They have kept me free of all illness with due to AIDS.
Right.
Kidney, they have, good luck.
So and HIV leads to AIDS.
Yes.
So did you get to the point you did get to the point of having AIDS?
Oh yeah.
Got it. Because some people, I don't know much. Some people just have HIV and then don't get to the point of having AIDS, or how does that?
My blood level changes. It goes from 5 to 7 to 4 to 3 to 5. It goes back and forth. I have to watch myself very carefully. I watch what I eat. I watch what I do. I watch how I exercise. I try and take very good care of myself.
I thought it was only recently that you could manage having AIDS and survive. I didn't know there were people. I thought if you got it in the 80s, it was over.
For most people it was. I'm one of the few that has survived. I'm one of the odd ones. And I keep asking them, why aren't they taking my blood and examining? How the hell have I survived?
Right.
No one can answer it.
Wow.
I'm one of the few lucky people. And I look up and go, thank you.
Wow.
And I still ask, why am I not being examined?
Right.
Why am I not being looked at?
Right.
But oh well.
Right.
I get up every morning, I look up and go, I have another day. I'm blessed.
Right.
What
How old
can
are you now?
I am 70. I will be 73 September 13th.
73, September 13th. Okay, right on. Wow. And what were you saying about Elizabeth Taylor earlier in the helicopter?
She ran around with my roommate for a while. And she called and said, I'm going to come get Eddie in about 15 minutes. And we were living down in Venice. And I thought, how the hell can you come down to Venice in 15 minutes from Los Angeles?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you hear, dum, 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 and it lands right in the middle of the street. our cross street, because we lived on a cross street, wide cross street. She picked them up and off they went.
Damn. That's incredible.
That's when they used to do those strange Middle Eastern or old, you dress as kings and queens. Those those fairs that go on every year.
Huh. Wow.
She took him to Cancun, where her and her husband had a home where they used to go vacation.
Uh-huh.
He came back and he handed me, he said, I have a present for you, Alan. Give this to your mother. And it was a silver comb, a silver brush, and a little silver, and that's not fake silver, sterling silver, mirror.
Right.
He said, give this to your mom. It's from Elizabeth. And you never say Liz, you always say Elizabeth, out of respect, because that's what she wants.
Wow.
And those eyes were so freaking gorgeous.
Right. Right. Hold on, we're recording now. No, we're still going. We're still going. You're good. Don't worry. Just a
She's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
She's
good.
a talker.
Don't believe a word he says, she says. Wow. Honestly, don't let the truth ruin a good story. It doesn't matter.
I talk a lot.
Damn. What do you think of right now? Because you're still fully with it. You still got a lot of energy. What do you think about where we are right now in the United States, just in general, with culturally, politically? You have any opinions on
Culturally, we're in a lot of trouble.
Why is that?
Because we don't respect each other. You know, when I went to high school, the first thing I did, because we had a roommate or a friend that you shared your locker with, I wanted a black man. Because I wanted to learn.
Right.
And my friends looked at me and said, why would you want, and I don't mean to use this word badly, why would you want to share your locker with a nigger? And I never thought, to me that's, everyone says that's a bad word, but you know, culturally, it's how we know people. I don't look at it in a bad way. Yes, I want a black man. I want to learn.
Right.
I went to his house. I learned to eat his food. I learned how his mother cooked. I learned their attitude. I had a wonderful time for a year with a black man.
Right.
And I learned a lot.
You could just request that, and they you just talk to the school.
You talk to your friends, you find out who's looking for a partner as a locker person.
Right.
And,
so you think, but you'd have to admit that at this time, black people in the U.S. have it better than they did in the 70s.
It's a whole different world now.
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
We were much friendlier back then, because we needed to learn about. We were friendlier. It was a different world back then. There wasn't as much problem. There was more problem religiously, because the Catholic school was across the river, across the Chicago River. And we had problems with them. Not with, I didn't have any problems with black kids. We had gang problems, but not with black kids.
Right.
And our high school was relatively, we had black kids.
Yeah.
No big deal. My second year, when we picked our locker people again, I wanted a Jewish kid. I wanted to learn.
Right.
I got a Jewish kid. And I learned, I went to bar mitzvahs. I went to church on a Saturday. I thought, what the hell's all this about?
Right.
And I learned everything I could. I learned the food. I learned about 2 refrigerators, 2 sinks, I learned everything I could culturally about a different religion. I learned what I could. And I thought, okay, that's different. That's what I tried to do in high school.
Right.
But I had 1,200, there were 4,000 guys in my high school. Right. I had a choice to learn whatever I wanted. And those are 2 things I wanted to learn.
Right.
Sexually? Yeah, wasn't interested. They're just high school boys. You don't even bother. I got guys picking me up. They're much older than, smarter than, and richer than you are.
Jeez. Right. Wow. Interesting. You said that the N word back then, because I would imagine it was because now obviously, now it's a heinous word, right?
Yes.
People say
Yes.
it. You're saying back then it was people would use it very casually.
It was still bad back then, but you didn't use it.
Because now you
can't use
it
it
for good reason. You can't use it
Yeah.
because it's racist, derogatory, etc. But so
The world now is so oblique with peace. Is that the right way to say it?
oblique. What does oblique mean again? I forget.
Oblique just doesn't exist,
Right.
and
It lacks peace.
it just bothers me that you can't walk down the street and get along with. You can't say hi to people anymore. People walk around and their ears are plugged into their
Right.
phone. There's no more. You get on a bus. There's no communication anymore.
You know what? I think a lot about that. I think a lot about the moments between the event, like the moments between the planned events in our lives. So like, the subway on the way to work, or the walking to a store, getting out of your car. All these little moments between the thing that we're trying to do, and now a lot of those moments are covered. You're either looking at your phone, you're listening to a podcast, you got the AirPods in, whatever it is. There's kind of less spontaneity in the things that can happen when you just look up and actually strike up a conversation with the person next to you. And a lot of those moments, even among not even strangers, even among friends, like you're all sitting in a living room, and that split, the few minutes where people are on their phone, I always think about, 40 years ago, those few minutes, what magic could have happened there if we weren't on our phone? Because we didn't fucking have phones.
The magic that has happened between you and I. When I first saw you, I looked you over
Yeah.
like a piece of meat.
Yeah.
But I said hi to you.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk to you.
Yeah, I know.
And I got to talk to you.
Yeah.
And look where we are today.
Yeah. That's all you.
And that.
Because I was actually in a bit of a hurry. Oh, I wasn't really in a hurry. It's a fake hurry. I was just like, got to get to the next. Got to get home because got to,
The world is in a rush to do something. But everybody's plugged into something. And I got on the bus one day, and it was different. And I looked around, and I sat down next to a guy, and he said, "Do you want to talk?" And I went, "What?" And he said, "Don't be scared." He said, "I just like to talk to people." I said, "I do too." And I said, "You have no idea what you just did." And the whole bus ride, we were just two gabby people.
Yeah.
And everybody on the bus is looking at us like we're nuts.
It's like you're nuts, yeah.
And everybody's plugging in, and so they didn't want to hear us.
I don't want to hear it, yeah.
And it's like, when I had to get up, I said, "Thank you. I've had a wonderful trip. Thank you very much." And I got off. And I stood there and watched the bus leave, and I thought, wow, what a wonderful thing just happened.
Right. You know what? I always think about that. I'm always like, when I'm sitting somewhere where I'm like, I can strike up a conversation. But I don't consider myself like, I'm always like, it's like, there's almost nothing anxiety. Well, maybe you'll call it anxiety, a little bit of anxiety when you're talking to a stranger. It's just work. It's like, fuck, do I want to do this right now? It's like, it's just going to be energy, and it's not even that I'm necessarily listening to something or like I'm busy with something else. It's just like, maybe I'll just sit. And obviously not everyone's super chatty, and that's okay, but what is it about your want to just talk? Where did that come from? Where does that come from?
Kaiser has built a new building on Romaine, and you go up there. Normally you sit down, and it's a little room, and it's sterile.
Right.
It's not nice. You go to this new building, and it's casual. And you look around. There's little areas where you can sit, and they're little areas, but they're meant to just compact people together where they can sit and talk.
Right.
And you go in and you sit down, and you wind up talking to other people.
Right.
And it's fabulous. It's a brand new building.
Is that when you're doing?
You're waiting to see a doctor.
Waiting to see. Oh, just the waiting. Got it. Okay.
And it's the whole floor. It's not a bunch of separate little rooms. It's the whole floor is open.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
And you're talking to people in there. Mostly older people, probably?
It's all kinds of people.
All kinds of
different, male, female, young, old.
Yeah.
And you sit down and you talk with people. Some people talk about their illness,
Yeah.
other people talk about just things.
Yeah.
And it's very energetic. I love it. I go and I talk to people.
Right.
And I'm a gabber.
Right. I know. I love it. Let me ask you this. Something that's a newer phenomenon, or maybe it's not newer, it was just more underground back then. The trans movement. People identifying as a different gender or identifying... I'm curious, what do you think of that?
Transgender is a tough thing.
Right.
When you're born, you are who you are.
Right.
You have already been given a life.
Right.
What you are inside of you, that's already in here.
Right.
No one can give it or change it.
Right.
If you wake up and go, doesn't feel right.
Right.
So what's right for you?
Right.
You make that own decision.
Right.
That's yours to make. It's not, I can't tell you, you look good, you're a girl.
Right.
It's you who decide whether you are a girl or a boy.
Right.
Whatever is this is yours.
Right.
I'm a male.
Right.
No matter what I do in bed is my own business.
Right.
But I'm a man.
Right.
Whatever I do for sexually, that's my own business.
Right.
If I wanted to be a woman, that would be a whole different era of being here.
Right.
But I'm not that. I'm still a man.
Right.
And everyone has to accept it. I'm gay.
Right. Right.
But what if I wanted to be a woman? What if I was born
And you want to be a woman.
with different feelings?
Right.
And I looked at you differently.
Right.
And if I was that feminine internally,
Right.
how do you handle that?
Right.
Would I disrespect it? No. You can't.
Right.
You have to learn, if you think you're a woman, you're a woman. I don't care what fucking body you're in.
Right.
You have to respect who you think you are.
Right.
And the world has a lot of trouble with that.
Right.
And you can't just turn around and say, you're a man, shut up.
Right.
No, you can't do that.
Right.
It's hard.
Right.
And do we make the change? A lot of people put religion. God gave you a man's body. You have to be a man.
Right.
You can't put religion or God in front of what's happening in a cranium. What's going up here, we don't know.
Right.
And don't put God and religion, because we don't. I respect the meaning of God,
Right.
but we don't know who God is.
Right.
The universe is a very strange thing. I believe in a power and source above us, but do I know what it is or who it is? No.
Right.
So I can't do that.
Right.
So whatever happens to you or your crane belongs to you.
Right.
Whatever you believe, how you believe it, I will not argue with that.
Right.
So
Wow. Right on.
you have
Were there people? Were there many trans people in the gay community that you were
trans people. I've known a few. A couple of them were murdered,
in? Really?
and that broke my heart because it was at the beginning, and I thought, why murder them? They're having a hard enough time existing.
Right.
Why?
Right.
Don't do that.
Right. That must have been. I mean, I'm curious. Were there members of the gay community that weren't okay with people that were trans? Because it seems like there's a higher percentage of people are, well, I don't think it seems like, I think we can state this as fact, a higher percentage of people are okay with homosexuality that are okay with being trans.
It's a fine line. Gay people are okay with most trans people,
Yeah.
but the straight community can't deal with it.
Right. So most of the gay community is pretty...
We're pretty okay with it because we're used to drag queens and we've been around.
Right.
Right. We've been through enough shit as it is.
Right.
We have enough people of our own people. It's like I like men,
Right.
but feminine gay men, I'm not.
Oh yeah, interesting. Right.
They're not part of my life.
You like
I like men.
men.
that are men.
Yeah.
And gay men that are masculine,
Masculine.
I like.
Right.
Feminine gay men, it's not part of my object.
Right.
I'm not into the feminine aspect of life.
Right.
You know.
Right.
You know, I'm not being rude, but yeah, this works.
Right. 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 Wow. What?
It's an interesting concept.
Yeah, totally.
But I don't disrespect my feminine.
Oh, of course.
subculture.
No, of course. No. You're not. Yeah, I don't.
They have their own problems.
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, totally. Wow. What would you say to people that are just looking to, because you've got a lot of, you've got gusto, you're very, very sure of yourself, you're proud of yourself, and I think a lot of people just aren't get anxiety talking about their story. They get anxiety. Even myself. Someone asks me, "What do you do?" I'm like, "Fuck, bro. I do some things." I'm like, but
You have to appreciate who you are.
Yeah.
You have to respect yourself.
Right.
And it's hard to do. There are days when I get up and go, "Alan, you're a fucking mess."
Right.
But get over it.
Right.
Get over it and respect what you're doing. Respect who you are, and get to work. Do something positive.
Right.
Do something positive. There are days when I'm in so much pain.
Right.
Do I want to take a pill? No. I'm not going to take another pill.
Right.
Because you get used to the pills.
Right.
Then you wind up druggy.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
I have a pill that's very strong.
Mm.
It's one of the strongest painkillers you can get.
Mm.
Do I want to take it?
Yeah.
No. Because I don't want to get hooked on it.
Right.
And they look at me and go, "Why don't you just take it and get rid of the pain?" I said, "Why don't I do something to get rid of the pain?" Right now, this is dead. This whole leg is gone.
You can't feel it.
Can't feel it. Because the nerve in my body
Right.
back here is
Right.
gone.
Right.
It's been moved.
Right.
And on August 19th, I'm going in for
Yeah.
subliminal shots to try and shift everything back. So my nerve
Right.
comes back.
Right.
Until then, what can I do? There are times when I'm sitting like this and it feels like there's blades of knife going right through my leg.
Right. Oh, so you do feel it sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Could I sit down and cry? Yeah, I could.
Yeah.
But I get up and I do something positive. I'll do some gardening. I'll
Right.
do something positive.
Right.
It channel that pain up into positive energy and the pain goes away.
Right.
So, that's what you have to do.
Right.
That's what I do.
Right. What else do you want to say? Do you have anything you want to say? Anything
Oh,
else?
I think I'm done for the night.
I love that. Alan, thank you on a lot of levels. I haven't done this for, I told you, about a year, August, like just before. It's been almost a year, actually literally like, it'll be almost a year in a few days. And I kind of got, I've started my own business, so I've been spending a lot of time on that. I've been surfing, doing some other things.
You surf?
Yeah. When I moved to Venice, I haven't even been surfing a year. My roommate Sawyer got me into it. He surfs every day. He's very into it. So but I've been doing, so this, and I've been like trying to take a step back from this for a little bit. And I've been doing a lot of thinking lately. I'm like, damn, I kind of want to, it's just so fun to do and just talk to people.
You should do more of it.
I know, this would probably be my 50th show or something? I don't know, somewhere around there, because I did a lot of shows during quarantine where it was just by myself, and I would talk about current events.
Yeah.
And just talk about, a lot of COVID stuff, George Floyd stuff, all that. But this is the first time I've done just one-on-one. This is originally I started my podcast where it was just conversations with people. Then I started just doing my own, and then now I'm back to this because I feel like it's very rare. You were saying this, everyone's got their AirPods in. It's very rare when you can just sit down in a room, not be distracted with the TV, not be at dinner, having to eat, just sit down and look someone in the eye and just talk. And nothing else is going on. You're talking. That's what you're doing. So this is very, it's crazy that this doesn't happen more often. Sometimes it's just an excuse to have a real conversation. Like some of my friends, I feel like I should just, let's get mic'd up, because we don't fucking talk.
Yeah.
We don't talk.
That's what's going on in the world. There's no more talking going on.
Right. There's a lot of reading, a lot of scrolling, a lot of...
a lot of just plugging in and losing it.
Right.
And that's unfortunate.
Right.
It's like her and I. Unfortunately, because of what I'm going through,
Yeah.
I've had to lock her out of my room.
Right.
Because we can't sit and talk like we used to.
Right.
And the dog is no longer allowed in my room
Right.
because of this.
Right.
Because this is turned into a real, until it's straightened out and
Right.
done.
And so the listeners know, what is this? Okay, he's just showing his stomach here. We have no video. Yeah.
This is, you know how they do dialysis with like
Yeah.
this?
So this is now just,
This is modern dialysis.
you'll be able to do dialysis
Well,
on.
what will happen
Yeah.
when the machine comes, it'll be in my room.
Right.
I hook up the machine at night.
Yeah.
It'll be pumping this liquid into my body
Right.
and then pumping it out.
Right.
And when it pumps out, it'll be taking all the crap out of my body.
Right.
And it'll relieve my kidneys of work.
Right. And how did the kidneys get to this point? Is it just,
I don't know.
God, because I don't know anything about this world. So it can just happen.
Yeah. And because of everything that my body's been going through,
Right, I bet,
my
yeah.
kidneys are operating at about 40%.
Got it.
And the one kidney's been halfway removed, so.
Right. Right. Yeah. I remember you saying that. Wow.
At age.
Right.
And when I was younger, I did a lot of shooting up.
Really.
Oh, you have no. But I didn't do street drugs. I did high end. I mean, I paid a lot of money.
You were doing heroin?
I did some heroin.
Yeah. What were you mostly shooting up with?
Speed.
Really? I didn't know you could
Oh,
shoot that. I don't
yeah.
know shit about that.
Similar. I could.
I thought you took pills for that. You can, but you can also shoot it.
Yeah.
What's it make you feel like?
You sit here, you go like.
Yeah.
You sit, and it goes right to the center of your spine,
Uh-huh.
and it goes from the base of your spine. Suddenly it hits your head,
Uh-huh.
and you're sitting here, and you're. I'm now going 700 miles an hour. What do you want to talk about?
Right. How's the come down on that?
A glass of milk.
Really? It just deactivates it?
It deactivates everything. Go to sleep.
Right. And then you don't feel hungover after it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's not say...
Body's worn out.
We gotta say some bad things about it so we don't get our listeners hooked on it.
And if you're not careful, you have
Yeah.
bad...
Yeah.
It's a little hard.
Right.
They have trouble getting blood out of it.
Right.
Because it's just...
Right.
But no marks.
How long you been sober?
Since the 80s.
Since the 80s.
Yeah.
Right on. Why'd you get into that in the first place?
Somebody, a friend of mine did it with me.
Yeah.
And I thought, ooh, this is good.
Right.
And then I found out you can do it with good drugs. I thought, oh. When I started doing it with the good drugs, I thought, oh, this is nice. And there's a pill that they give to really fat people. And on the outside of it is all the medication they need for their bodies.
Mhm.
And the center of it is pure speed. So you wash it off.
Right.
And then you crush
it up.
a little. But you get 10 of them and you crush it. And then you heat it up and all the wax goes off to the side and you have liquid. So you drop
Dear
the liquid
God.
and then you shoot the liquid.
Oof. Holy schnitzel.
Bam!
Holy hell.
You people might be on fighters, but I'm on a 747 with nobody in it.
Holy
I'm
schnitzel.
the only one in.
God.
Oh,
Careful, brother.
shoot up Friday night and come down Sunday.
Really?
That's
That
how
long?
long it would last.
Wow,
I would
dude.
go to dancing,
Yeah,
like
I bet.
the club down
Yeah.
in Hollywood,
Huh.
the dance club, where they had like 400 people.
Yeah. Do you remember the name of it?
Club 45.
Club 45? Yeah, because they all had numbers back then, right?
And the girl I used to run around with is the only woman I ever fucked.
Huh.
She ran a whorehouse. My apartment was $3,000 a month, 2-bedroom. My roommate was an asshole.
Uh-huh.
He was fucking everything I brought home.
Huh.
I didn't know that because I would leave and run around. And
He's fucking dudes or fucking chicks?
He's fucking all my guys.
Yeah.
And then the woman next door ran a whorehouse. She had 14 apartments in the complex.
Uh-huh.
And she said, Alan, can I use, my bedroom was handmade bed. It was incredible. I had pictures, you'd go, you're crazy. Right. 4-poster. Right. I built the whole fucking thing. She said,
want to use your bedroom?
Can I borrow your bedroom every once in a while? Yeah. I said, sure, here's the key. I'd come back from being out all night. It's $500 on my nightstand. My bed's made, everything, my room is clean.
And someone had a sexual experience in that bed.
She would come in and have sex in my bed. Yeah. And give me a $500 tip.
Would you coordinate and when you'd be there, or she would?
We always knew each other like crazy, and then we started running around together.
How did that happen? Because she knew you were gay.
Yeah.
But
I have a picture of her. She was drop dead gorgeous.
Right. So how did that work? Did she say, let's do this? Did you just want to explore fucking a woman?
We ran out together. We were dancing one night, and she came in. She was in my apartment. And all of a sudden, we were in bed together, and all of a sudden, we were both naked. And I went down and ate her.
Yeah.
And she looked at me, she goes, no one's ever done it this good.
Right.
And I started fucking her.
Right.
And I've never done this before. What the fuck is going on?
Jesus. Right.
And it was the only time we did it.
Right.
But I thought, damn.
Holy schnitzel. Oh, I thought, damn. Holy schnitzel.
Myself around her closet.
Wow, brother beast.
That
Damn.
was the only woman I've ever been with.
Right. Damn.
And it was worth it.
Right. Wow. Okay, I want to be mindful of your time, of your energy. This has been super, super epic. I appreciate you just sitting down, talking real talk.
No problem.
This was fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's funny because you live next to my folks. I'll come over see my folks. Come by, see you around. I'm like, old
I
dude.
run you out of batteries, huh?
Yeah, I was like, some old dude. It's all good. I don't know what his deal is. He wants to talk. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. But then brought up Venice. Boom. I was like, oh shit. Just makes you realize there's some fucking.
Well, now you can get back to doing it with other people.
Yeah. No, you're right. I appreciate that. Yeah. That's damn. Okay. This was epic. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Really appreciate it. I'll send you this when it's over. Okay. God bless you, brother.
God bless you.
Right on.